Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back with another episode of the Stanley Parable. First things first, let me ask everybody to turn off any ad blockers or whitelist me. Help me make a career. Um, Last episode, we decided to prove that we had choice. And when we proved we had choice, we made the absolute wrong decisions and we broke the game. So, while I'm not saying we won't break the game again, we're going to break it in definitely different ways. It was a weird one. That was a weird ending. A lot of things changed. But let's see what happens this time. Alright. We're still 427. I guess that was always our number. Now, last episode,
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Wait a minute. That was in no way what was said before. That was not the dialogue at all. Anyways, last episode, when we were running around, we climbed up on a desk, and I noticed that when we climbed up, that we can actually climb up on this desk through this chair, or at least we can get this high. Come on. There we go. There we go. And I actually know what I'm doing, but pretending like I don't. Or maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Come on. Trying to see if I can get through this section here. Come on. Clicking. That's not helping. Oh, that's no good. I swear there's something here. Maybe it's not. Maybe you come up over on this side. No. No, it's here. Click, click, click. Oh, maybe I crouch down. There we go. Alright, let's crouch down. And crouch down again.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
No. Do we walk towards it?
Ah, then in that case we'll continue. But now, here comes the real question. What do you think would have happened if you had told me that you wanted this to stop? Do you think it would have been particularly different? Would I have taken the same idea but rephrased it superficially to fit that answer? Perhaps you never would even have thought of it if I hadn't brought up the issue in the first place. Oh, now think about it. Will it be worth it for you to restart and then come back here just to do the other option? Clearly, this whole gag takes some time. What if the other option is even longer? How long will you spend in total just to have heard all the narration? Oh, and this is rich. Perhaps you've just played the other option, and now you've come to see what happens in this one. So, what do you think? Which choice was the better one? Imagine if you had selected continue on your first playthrough, how tantalizing it would be not knowing what happens when you pick the other option. Indeed, you are one of the lucky ones. Though if the other option is really miserable to listen to, then perhaps you're not. In fact, I'm just going to say that no one who's listening to this is lucky. Well now, I've built up the other option so much that I'm going to stop talking and leave you to your decision whether to come back here, continue with the game, or just sit in this spot forever and ever. Cheers.
Can't click no. Can't click yes. Alright, so let's test how big this room is. And there's the window we jumped out of. And there's, I don't think, a way back. Let's see. Crouch down and try and walk straight. Nope. So, there's no way out. Begin the game again, or resume the game. As far as I can tell, there's no way out. So we gotta begin the game again. Theoretically, you could call that an ending, sure. But let's see what the other thing says. He's not even saying anything, and the phone is ringing. Which phone's ringing?
Hi, Stanley. Just wanted to leave you a message to let you know there's a few things I need you to pick up on your way home from work today. We need milk, cereal, dish soap, spaghetti, get a thing of sugar, some bread, and coffee beans, whichever ones you like. I'll give you a call if there's anything I forgot. Thanks, sweetie. See you tonight.
I guess I really do have a wife. That's strange. And look, he's not talking. Now, everything's different. Come on, let me up. Now, crouch back down, over, and through. And we're out the window, slowly falling, I believe.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet?
Yes.
Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain it. There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable and lives an existence quite terrible. And if you are not strong and keep playing along, you too will become quite unbearable. Yes. You too will become quite unbearable.
I have to apologize for anyone who is actually deaf, because the closed captions turned off as soon as he started singing. YouTube has automatic closed captions that are pretty awful, and will try and close caption everything the game and myself says. But I'd prefer, when I turn the closed captions in a game on, that they stay on. Now I do have it in subtitle only mode, So there was another mode, but I think subtitles still includes songs. I get that it doesn't say like parentheses music playing right now when it's in subtitle only mode, but when the singer is speaking, it should be subtitled. That's just my own personal opinion. So do we think this song is just looped forever? This really isn't an awful song. It's quite peaceful. You can sit here and listen to it for quite a while. No, it's not looped. He's just playing over and over again. There, it's messing up. And now silence. How long should we sit in silence? There's nothing here. There's nothing to do. Doesn't sound like he's gonna say or do anything else. And I am very intrigued about how this game is changing and evolving every time we restart it. In the sense that instead of the narrator saying different things, we're getting voice messages on the phone at the wrong person's desk, by the way, which I suppose that's feasible that could happen. Anyways, I guess we have to restart, don't we? Let's try this again.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
So there was an awaiting input here before, and now it's gone. Maybe once you click it once, it's done. No, it's over here. Alright, we'll click that again. Now it has 2 bars lit up. Maybe we have to do multiple runs. Click it. I'm not gonna click doors. I wanted to see the downstairs.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
There was a downstairs to the stairs, and I know there was, and I'm going to go see what was down there.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Hey, I can get back into the broom closet.
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Doesn't look like I can provoke him to say anything else. Good old broom closet. So, before there was...
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So this whole place keeps changing. Like before, there was not any way down, and this was like the highest floor that you could see. So now we can go down. It's just ridiculous. Down we go. 12. And a fire hose, that's something new. And a red light. And a hobo bed. Alright. That door done close. Red light cars. AB112.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
I'm floating.
Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Son of a...
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
The end is never the end is loading. And just like that, we have another ending. And boy, is it weird. Uh, I don't know if this ending really is a huge commentary on video games as much as it is just a potential commentary on the insanity of video games. I suppose you could say that. Because there is a lot of crazy stuff going on in this game, and we're not severely questioning it. We're going with the flow. But I don't think it's really that big of a thing. If you made a video game that was completely like the real world, it would be super boring and repetitive and dull. So I like the craziness of video games. I think most people do. We are willing to suspend our disbelief about why doors magically shut behind us and such. So that's another ending. And this is the ending of this episode. Uh, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me through fan funding, click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Any amount you donate will be greatly appreciated. If you want to follow me on Twitter or Google Plus or friend me on Steam or Battle.net, all the information is down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.